Hello people, Super Ambassador again doing this thing. As usual, I just come to react on these videos, give my opinion, ask you guys to share your opinions in the comment section. I'm going to pick it up. You may not agree with me, my French may not be the best, my English may not be the best, but if you get the core of what I'm trying to say and you can react on it, mission accomplished. So today I'm going to be talking about, usually I feel like I have some of these people that I'll come and react to what they're seeing, and then I'm going to shout them out because I feel like that people, other young Africans should try to start following what they are saying, and they can help to create that critical mass. I usually just call their names. Vosi Timbakwa when it comes to business. What's his name? Bishop Maponga, Penwell. In Nigeria, I have guys like Sanusi. What's his name? Lamido Sanusi. Also, this guy for the African Development Bank, but I'm not always too sure of, based on his professional standing, I'm not too sure. But what's his name? The director of the African Development Bank. So I'll be calling most of those names, and which should, yeah, you should just tell like who you should look up. So I'm talking about this example. You watch the video where he's talking about how a Chinese company almost overcame Starbucks. For those who know Starbucks, I'm sure most people watching Cameroon, you might not have seen Starbucks. For those who are outside of Cameroon, you have come to Starbucks. It's actually like a global structure. It's something like a McDonald's and all these food chains. So Starbucks, I think, they're specialized mostly in coffee kind of things. But now most of those fast food things, they also start selling burgers. Soon some will sell food. Yeah, some of them just evolve into more than just what they started with.
Luckin Coffee. Do you know Luckin Coffee? Oh man, they're so cool. Chinese coffee company. They're now at 2,800 stores. Listen to this. They're 3 years old, dude. 2,800 stores. They're 3 years old. It's one thing, y'all gotta get this about the Chinese, man. Very deliberate, very focused, right? But Luckin Store has become a nightmare for Starbucks in China. Starbucks is now 11 years in China. They're at 4,000 stores, which means in 18 months' time, Luckin Store is gonna beat the terminal growth value of Starbucks. You know what Luckin Store did? They went right price, convenience. They built an app at the front end of their business. I wouldn't suggest you do that, but that's what they did. And they got the price just right. And they started moving volume.
So this case, I mentioned that in one of the videos I told you, like, we have the Chinese model to follow. There are lots of things that we can see when it comes to like Chinese medicine, Chinese businesses, Chinese educational system, Chinese. I think that we can look at it because social solutions are usually holistic solutions. It's not just one solution itself. You solve many problems to solve a social problem. So you might need to solve something in our educational system, something in our health system, something in our employment policy, solve something in our to solve the problem of poverty in Africa. That being said, first step which I took note of was they are very deliberate and focused. So they look at Starbucks and like, this is what Starbucks is doing. Like, this is what we want to do in China. This is our context. Based on this context, this is the strategy we're going to employ. And then they are very deliberate about that strategy and very focused on the strategy. So, one, we need to know what they are doing, plan based on our context, on what we want to do, and then be deliberate and focused. I'm emphasizing on some of these things because that's our problem. At times we don't even know what the other person is doing. Even when we know, we don't plan or think anything around it. And even when we think, we don't act or we're not focused on anything around it. Okay, that being said, I think we need to build, when I look at this model for the Chinese company, we need to build for Africa but to the world. So a good number of Chinese infrastructure, you go there, they have their apps which they're using mobile money and their kind of system which is based on their reality. Like a typical reality in Africa is power shortage. You should not be building any technology slash infrastructure slash equipment related thing that you don't take into context that there might be blackouts in Africa. So we should build for Africa but to the world. Also, we should be international about our agenda. We cannot be building an island. The world is already a global village where everybody knows what's happening in every place. If you start, like when they say support your own 237, like we say in Cameroon. But I'll not support my own when it's mediocre. I'll not support my own when it's poor quality. So my own should try to give me the best quality, then I'll support my own. If it's 50 for Cameroon, 50 for Chinese, I'll support 50 Cameroon because it's 50 for Chinese. But you not give me 5 for Cameroon, 50 for Chinese, and you want me to still support that. Secondly, even when, like this, what I call trial, Even when I support the fight for Cameroon to give you that jump start, one, it means that you should give me the benefit of doubt for me to be able to criticize that 5 which you have given me so that I can get to the 50. And when I criticize the 5, you take into consideration, you change to the 50. But I cannot keep on buying these shoes and they don't last. I tell you that this shoe does not last. You say, okay, you have heard. And after 1 year, I want to come back to give me the same shoe does not last. And I should keep buying it because of support your own. No, it doesn't work that way. Secondly, the market will not grow. Because, okay, I in Cameroon will support it because it's 237. The man in Ivory Coast has no obligation to support it because 237. Even if he decides to support it because it's Africa. Now, do you want the man in China to leave their own Chinese thing and buy yours? Because no, it does not work that way. So we need to be aware that we have an international agenda of how we want to, while the rest of the world is trying to conquer the African market, the African market should be trying to conquer the rest of the world. We are just there like some helpless children looking at the world. Who will give us food? Who will give us shoes? Who will tell us how to pray to God? Those are all of the things that make us, we have no international agenda. And all the other continents are just imposing and implementing their own agenda on the Africa. And I told you guys, at times I'll watch a video like this and I think about my own things, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about all the detail of that video. The intention of the video is not the intention of what I'm saying. Also, and lastly, I think I always hammer on policy because I hammer on all directions. Because for me, it's important. You can have very good policies, but the people's minds are stupid. They'll do nothing about it. You can have very sharp minds, but the policy is very stupid. They'll do nothing about it. So you need to be hitting all of those things, which when they combine together and they're in a good state, things will grow. So lastly, I think policy. You need a government that will put in place an enabling environment to be able to encourage entrepreneurs who are going to develop the funding that will fund our systems to build things which are good for the African. So there's that whole chain. If the policy is not good and the people cannot survive, then when it's time to fund our governments will be funded by external forces. And those external forces have their own interests. You cannot blame them for enforcing and imposing their own interests when they're the ones that funded our systems or our activities. So it should start from there. We should learn to generate the revenue to fund our activities so that we can now control the government, so that the government can put in place the policy that can favor us to grow even more. If we don't break that in that circle, we're getting nowhere. As usual, I tell you guys, like, share, subscribe, comment. Your boy Ambassador is out.
Just my opinion.